everybody, I'm Simmons. This is Philosophy for We Find Ourselves, May 17th, 2020. When I was 19 years old and a sophomore in college, I had the amazing and life-changing opportunity to study away. I got to spend 4.5 months in Cambridge, England, and while I was there, I was able to do an enormous amount of travel all over Europe. It was an amazing time and really one that kind of propelled the rest of my life forward in exactly the right sorts of ways. It's in fact the trip that helped me realize that what I wanted to do with my life was think about ideas, was to focus on cultural artifacts and the way that they reflected human conceptions of the good and the way that we live together. So probably not surprisingly, I spent a lot of time at museums. One museum in particular was the National Gallery there in London, and it has an enormous number of Monet paintings. Now, Monet, of course, is famous for his impressionist style, the fuzzy use of line that he deploys, his absolutely amazing sense of kind of soft color, and he used this approach to color as an entirely different way of thinking about how we relate to objects of beauty in the world. The big crowds tend to gather around the famous paintings by Monet. And lots of those paintings tend to be of flowers. Now, this of course makes tons of sense. When we go to gardens, we tend to go see the flowers, to see the foliage. And yet, one of the paintings that stuck out to me, and was so impactful in fact, that it was the only print that I bought, was of what is titled irises. But what's so compelling about this painting is that the irises are incidental. It's really a painting of simply the path to where all of the flowers are that he spent so much time painting. Now, why is this interesting? Because right now we find ourselves in a situation where seeing our next steps is extremely difficult. We right now seem to have lost the ability as a society to think well about path living. Instead, we are focused on destination living. The tricky thing about living toward destinations is that when you achieve those destinations or you get to that spot, it becomes very difficult to know how then to live from then on. If we focus on path living, then we are the kinds of people who still get to destinations, but we recognized all along the way the irises that were in bloom that we might otherwise have missed. In my mind, I like to think of Monet as in fact standing there on the path and deciding that what he saw there was worth his time and energy to paint, while all the other artists continued to pass him by, going to where the real beauty was. What we've got to figure out how to do right now is be path livers, to be the kinds of people who recognize wherever we are, there is opportunities for beauty, that there are opportunities for joy, and yet there are also opportunities for lament because we recognize that we still are not yet where we are heading. We can hold these in tension. Let's become the kind of people like Monet who are able to appreciate where we find ourselves, even while there are likely better places still yet to see. This doesn't mean that we are stagnant. It does mean that we live lives defined by gratitude for what we have where we are. Thank you, Monet, for that painting. I love the others, but there's something about the idea that you paused, looked down, and recognized that the path itself was beautiful. So today, may we be the kinds of people who are able to live still on the path, still on the way, not abandoning our goals or moving towards those destinations, but not being defined by them to such an extent that we forget to look around where we are. I hope this is helpful. I'll see you tomorrow unless a piano falls on our heads.